I'm not gonna say majority, but it is a good chunk of white people who date black people to piss off their daddy, and black people who date white people because they mad at their mama. Bitch, let me tell you something. First of all, I be needing my blanket because I got iron deficiency and I be cold. So, y'all gonna get this blanket realness. Second of all, before y'all watch this video, please subscribe to the channel. Please follow me on all social media platforms at Dijah_Diva. And please visit my Patreon. It is in the link in the description. You can choose a $5, $10, $15, or $25 per month subscription. My Patreon members get exclusive episode drops. They get everything early. DIVAGANG podcast discussions, everything early. They're getting the content schedule earlier than you guys. They get the uncut versions of these episodes because the episodes I already get cut on the YouTube channel. Y'all don't even know how raw I get on the damn Patreon. And also they get specific stuff like bonuses and random shit and lives. Like anytime I am doing something that is extra is going on Patreon. Also, the social media version of my Patreon is FanBase. Follow me on FanBase. It's a black-owned social media app. Follow me on FanBase. They get a whole lot of shit that my other social media platforms won't get. I know I'm late to the conversation, but bitch, we just got back here, and I'm going to talk about it when I want to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it when I want to talk about it. We're going to talk about the infamous Love is Blind. And this is going to be a 5-part series. And I thought about putting all of the couples in a basket. Well, couples, thruples, whatever the fuck, because there was a lot going on this season. Season 6. I was going to put them in a basket and pick randomly. But I decided against that last minute because I want to speak about these couples in the order that I'm going to speak about them in, because I need to be intentional in the way that I'm speaking about them, and y'all will understand as the Diva discussions go on for this 5-part Diva discussion series about Love is Blind Season 6, okay? So the first couple that I want to talk about, the very first couple, we're going to go ahead and get them out the way, but we're going to talk about Kenneth and Brittany. Let's go ahead and get into it. Discussing Kenneth and Brittany, let's go ahead and get the tough shit out the way. There was commentary made about Kenneth's sexual orientation all over the internet. It was the elephant in the room. It was the sneaky shit in the room. Let's go ahead and get it. Let's go ahead and just dive into that conversation. Let me tell you what the discussion on the internet about his sexual orientation told me. Now, I only notice it with men. A lot of y'all are invasive with needing to know if men are bisexual, down low, queer, whatever the fuck, because y'all are trying to prevent a bruised ego. Nobody wants to be caught being the beard for a queer man. And I find that this is even worse with black men, because white men, even when they're cisgendered and heterosexual, they get the freedom to be expressive with their femininity that black men do not get. The point of knowing if Kenneth is, because y'all think that somebody's sexual orientation is a reflection of you, and y'all just don't want to get caught dealing with a gay nigga. Let's just call it what it is. The commentary about his sexual orientation, what it could be, what it is, what it ain't, I'm going to be completely honest. I saw a little bit in the episodes why the conversation was happening. I'm not saying that he's gay. I'm not saying that he's not. But I saw why people were having that conversation. But what it boiled down to is y'all just like to out queer black men. Y'all are not comfortable with black men displaying feminine traits or not existing within toxic masculinity, because there's a certain amount of ego protection that happens to black women or just women in general when they have a dude that portrays the worst of masculine traits. There's a whole conversation about this. I just want to get this part out the way because I know that y'all are going to be mad if I don't bring it up. Can I see Kenneth possibly being bisexual? Sure. Do I feel like his sexual orientation could be relevant to the conversation of how him and Brittany's relationship was conducted on Love is Blind Season 6? Sure. Do I feel like the conversation is coming from good faith? No. It's a lot of biphobia and homophobia that comes into the equation when we are discussing somebody's relationship having trials and tribulations because of a undiscovered sexual orientation. The entitlement that y'all feel to black queer folks or black men or black whatever, their sexual orientation and the details and the intrusiveness, is really coming from a place of you don't want to be caught dealing with no gay nigga. Even with the show Valley, a lot of y'all's point of contention is not that it's a queer show. A lot of y'all point of contention is the men that are queer on the show look like the same niggas that you like and the same niggas that you fucked. And y'all are very uncomfortable with the idea of fucking somebody bisexual or on the DL because of your ego. That's the end of what I'm going to do to talk about Kenneth and his potential sexual orientation mystery, because I also think that y'all don't provide safety for queer black men to come out. But I also know that a lot of the things that black men that have healthy relationships with their emotions do is seen as gay to y'all. And y'all have to unpack that. And all of the mystery revolving Kenneth's sexual orientation is a lot of a y'all problem and none of a him problem. And whoever the cousin is that leaked the tip ain't shit. And outing people or potentially false outing people is very dangerous. And it is completely disrespectful and uncalled for. I would be remiss to not use my platform to talk about that. I would be remiss to not have an honest conversation about that on my queer safe platform. Let's move on. The real reason, sexual orientation allegations aside, why Kenneth and Brittany did not work out is because of two reasons. Number one, the interracial relationship thing. And reason number two is because they had no chemistry. They were both grateful to have picked and be picked. And they were going to try their best to make it work out, regardless as to how fruitless it was. They didn't have a lot of chemistry with each other. From Jump Street, it just seemed as if when they met each other, when they was even in the pods, they just cool people. They was cool. I think they'd make great friends. A lot of y'all feel obligated to conduct romantic partnerships with people just because they're good people and just because y'all are cool. The bare minimum and scarcity mindset of it all. I believe just because, he's faithful, he's a good guy, he got money, he's cool people, we have a lot in common, we have good chemistry, that is enough to justify conducting a romantic partnership with that person. And I'm here to tell you that is not true. It takes way more than that. And to be honest, all of those things are great things. All of those things are positive things. However, I hate to be that person, that single person that always does this, but it's the bare minimum. The bare minimum is meeting somebody you're compatible with, that you're cool with, that y'all have chemistry, that he's respectful, that he is faithful, that she's respectful, she's faithful, not abusive. All of those traits have been sold to us as gold when it's really the bare minimum. Anything extra on top of that, now that can be gold, but that is the bare minimum. And if we didn't have such a scarcity mindset, if they didn't have such a scarcity mindset, they would have never made it out those pods. Even though I do think that they make awesome friends. They had zero chemistry. Let's move on to the other thing. We have to have a real conversation about interracial relationships. And this is not going to be my first time conducting this conversation. I'm going to come at it from this angle, and I need y'all to stay with me. Interracial relationships do not work a lot. I believe interracial relationships can work. I don't believe in interracial relationships personally, but I do believe that they can work. I do believe that divesting, especially for Black women, is a good thing sometimes. I believe that if there's 100 interracial relationships, maybe only 5 of them should happen. And let me tell you why. Aside from the potential of dating somebody who is just vehemently racist, I believe, especially when you're dating white folks and you are a person of color, more specifically Black, a relationship already takes a great deal of emotional work and labor. And when you're dating interracially, when you're the person of color in the relationship, especially when you're Black, you have a racial component and labor factor that you have to input in a society where it's already hard to conduct a healthy romantic partnership, period. I don't believe that a lot of people of color or Black people have the range or the capacity to conduct that type of racial labor in an interracial relationship, even when the white party in that relationship is not racist. When you're born in the United States or in Western society, when you live in a society where racism is systemically stitched in, it's kind of hard to be white and not racist in general, but that's a conversation for another day. But I think that was a point of contention for them. I thought when I looked at him, he looked like he dated white girls, but after he got into it, I was like, oh, this is his first time doing this. And he realized, oh yeah, I can't do it. And I understand. And that doesn't make her racist or that doesn't make her a bad person. And it doesn't make him a bad person either. But I just think there's an amount of racial trauma that comes out of interracial relationships. And that racial trauma almost always is implanted on the person of color. It's a lot of educating. It's a lot of letting a lot of comments and insensitivity slide. It's a lot of that happens in interracial relationships when the other party is white. Or even when y'all are both people of color. There's a lot of insensitivities that happen across the board that cause racial trauma to the Blackest party in the relationship. I just don't believe that Kenneth was up for it. And I don't believe that he should ever be. I don't think that most people of color are. And that's why most interracial relationships, to me, should not exist. I think that people can date interracially. I know plenty of people who've dated outside of their race and they're doing just fine. I know for me, as far as me and my household, I date Black only. But I know people who date interracially and it works out just fine. But a lot of interracial relationships, if it's not coming from a racist party and a self-hating party, which is a good chunk of them, I'm not going to say majority, but it is a good chunk of white people who date Black people to piss off their daddy and Black people who date white people because they mad at their mama. It happens a lot. However, when we're having this conversation about interracial relationships, I just don't think that most people have the bandwidth to sustain them healthily in a society that's built on institutionalized racism. I think that that's what happened in their relationship. I think that there was already a lack of chemistry, white, Black, pink, purple, whatever. But that component on top of that just made that thing not work out even worse. What I do appreciate about both Kenneth and Brittany is they conducted the end of that relationship with some dignity. I don't think that he's ready for any relationship personally, because he needs to do a lot of self-discovery about what it is that he's looking for. And he also needs to focus on his children at his school. He needs to focus on his career right now. He doesn't have enough capacity in his brain in order to conduct a relationship outside of all of the billions of other things that he's doing for his career. And for Brittany, I find that she needs to do some soul searching and understand. My mama told me this. She doesn't give me advice ever. Most of the advice is I don't know what to tell you. But don't let nobody tell you they don't want you more than once. And somebody's distance, their actions, their body language, even though it's not verbal, can be an indication that they've told you that they don't want you. I am happy that Brittany ended it pretty quick, but I think that that relationship could have ended even quicker if she had picked up what he was putting down. I do think that they made great friends. I just don't think that they were going to make great partners. And that's how I feel about their relationship in total. I know that the interracial relationship conversation that we just conducted is going to ruffle a couple of feathers, but we have to come by things honestly. Do I think that my commentary is for everybody in interracial relationships? No. But it is for a great deal of them. And if we're going to conduct this conversation, we have to conduct it honestly. I know me personally, besides the feeling of betraying my ancestors, I just find like I don't want to be in a relationship. Relationships are already hard. People already cheat. People are already abusive. People are already doing this. But adding that racial component to the relationship where I got to educate, I got to deal with somebody saying something insensitive. Their family might be racist. They might not want to distance themselves from their family because that's their family no matter how racist they are. Or I feel guilty and responsible for them not being cool with their family because he wouldn't have had to do that if he wasn't with me. And then I got to teach you. And then I got to explain some cognitive dissonance to our kids. I just don't have the energy to do that. And a lot of people of color don't. And a lot of y'all just need to be honest. Because a lot of y'all honestly just involved in interracial relationships because of a scarcity mindset anyway. Y'all are divesting. And I feel like divesting is also sometimes a scarcity mindset. Divesting is making another race of people responsible for recovering the reputation of the men in yours. That's why I don't call myself a divester. It does. Let me say that again. A lot of divesting is y'all making another race of men responsible for recovering the reputation and rebranding the reputation for the men in yours. And it is what it is. But that's all I got to say about Kenneth and Brittany. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all comment down below. Was I hitting the nail on the head for the interracial component? Do y'all feel like they had no chemistry? How do you feel about the conversation that was conducted about his potential sexual orientation? Let's go ahead and have that conversation. All right. Bye, divas.
Duty show these bitches, I don't like them. Bitches always biting what they hearing, call them Tyson. What they put on the flow sucks. Dyson, AK send these niggas extra bucks like a stipend.